What's up, guys? Badger1 here with Badger Team. I'm going to do a quick video today, do a tutorial on how to use Drongo's area of operations, how to get that all set up. I know Drongo himself has done his own videos, but I'm going to do one here on my channel just to get more information out there in case you don't know where to search or whatever. You can go through this at your convenience and learn how to set this up. So Drongo's area of operations is it's basically a random way to generate missions. It will use the parameters that you put into the module itself and use the enemies that you specify in order to populate a map, populate basically an area of operations for you to conduct your missions. It will also generate missions for you to do, and I will tell you all about that as we go on. But right now I want to show you probably one of the first things that you want to do is set up your Blue 4 base. And I came in here and I built all this previously beforehand, so just to kind of make it easier. So you can build your base on an area of operation mission any way you like, but it does have to have two things inside it in order for the area of operations module to work. You're going to need two unspecified objects. One of them is a truck, can be a truck. The other one, I made this M1097 Humvee over here. And the thing with those is I think the module pulls from these in order to define where your base is located and kind of where to center your operations out of as far as assigning missions and that kind of thing. So you put down an empty object, and in the variable name, you're going to have to put lowercase AO, capital D, deliver. That is for the empty truck here. And then to define your base as a whole, put down another empty object. Now, like I said, undefined or unspecified means you can use anything. You can use one of these oil drums over here and use it as your marker. I just like something a little more large, a little more visible. Let's double click on that one. And in the variable name, it's going to be lowercase AO, capital BASE, base. Other than that, you can build your base any way you want. You can put down any kind of static objects, vehicles, anything like this. Most of my operations, the missions that I build, I will tie myself only to Zeus. I will tie my players so that they're all able to request support. This map is Karama Island, by the way. I don't know how new it is, but it's very, very well done. It has its own objects. There's a lot of really cool terrain features in this map. Right over here, there's a underground submarine base, and I'm going to scoot over there in a second and show you how to utilize that. So you can put anything down. It's got pre-made helicopter pads and all this kind of thing, but I will go ahead and tie all my supports into my three guys. So you do the support requester. I've got an artillery position made down here, so my units can call artillery support should they need it. Over here on top of one of the helicopter pads, I have CAS support heli, heli support supply drop, and heli transport virtual. If you wanted to use jets, you could come over here and put the module down for for supports to add virtual CAS bombing runs. Let's just do one right here. So this is a virtual CAS bombing run, and just tie it to the support requester. So I've got just some helicopters down here. Also in my missions, I allow my team members to do a halo jump from the base, or they can fly there. Since this is a waterlocked island map set, I've also got some boats over here for my guys to use if they want to do any kind of water inserts or anything like that. They can do that. I could probably also drop a SDV submersible over here for them to use if they wanted to do some scuba missions. But over here, the secret submarine base, I'll show you how to utilize it. Um, it is really, really well done. It's got a top on it so that it's kind of underground. ARMA 3 has a object in it, and it's a modern submarine, but you will not be able to find that in the editor. So in order to utilize it, by not finding it in the editor, I mean, it's not listed under Blue 4 objects or independent objects. Neither is it under OP4. So you can't put it down. You can't go in here like find it in these lists and then put it down as an empty object. It just won't. It's not there. So in order to place that, you have to put a invisible helipad marker, and then in the init field of the helipad marker, submarine underscore 01 underscore F, create vehicle, position this. And then on mission start, wherever this marker is located, your full size modern submarine will pop up. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to spectate right here. But it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, if you want submarines that you can get on, there's a Hellenic Armed Forces mod that has a whole bunch of naval vessels. One of theirs is also a submarine. It's fully functional. You can fire cruise missiles, torpedoes from it. It has manable cruise stations and a pretty good interior. I do have that mod set downloaded, but I'm not running it right now.
Be advised, support units are now on standby.
And my marker was a little off-centered, but that's basically it. That's the submarine there. So you can come in here and adjust your marker. I've got another one over here set. So kind of play with your marker a little bit and get it set and moved. And you can be able to have submarines in here, even if they are a static object. It just adds a little more realism. So I would have to come in here and adjust where my marker is in order to get that submarine centered exactly in the middle of that that launch bay there. And you can see the Drongo's area of operations is already starting to populate and assign me missions. So let's go over here and I'll show you how to set that up. You can do this on any map. You don't have to have, it's not like playing Liberation or, any of the mod types where they're tied to a specific map. As long as you have downloaded Drongo's area of operations, you can use any map, and you just build it like you do a regular mission. So this is the core module here. In order for it to run, you have to have a core module placed. So just grab one and come over here and place it down on the map and double click on it and then open it up, and you'll notice a lot of these different parameters that you can change. And I'll just run through these right quick. Mission types, as I mentioned earlier, area of operations will generate missions for your team to do. If you do not assign anything to them specifically, or you do not want it to generate missions, you can just come in here and delete, any of these that you want, or you can delete all of them. Just remember that if you do delete all of them, that you've got to have at least your 2 brackets there, so that when that thing pulls and generates, it will know that you don't want any. It will mess it up if the brackets aren't there. So if you don't want it to do any missions, if you just want to use area of operations as a filler, you don't want to waste a lot of time putting down units, setting waypoints, assigning task patrols and that kind of thing, this thing will do it for you. So mission types, you can leave it as is, or you can take away all of the mission signing capability and it will not generate missions for you. So let's leave it as it was. So the mission types: patrol, urban patrol, defense, sweep, demo, search and destroy, assault, downed aircraft, search and rescue, quick reaction force, destroy convoy, destroy squad, destroy vehicle, search and destroy, seize intel, and assassination missions. If you can take any one of these out or leave them all in there, it's totally up to you, and it does it completely random, so you never know what mission you're going to get if you leave those in there. AO size is, I have mine set at 2600, which roughly covers the main covers this main island of the map right here. It's going to cover basically this whole area. And I can show you how to look at that and determine how big your AO is in just a second. The mission radius, I have mine set to 10. That is, if you set this to 0, the actual mission that area of operations generates will be exactly where the marker says. If you're having like a search and destroy mission, for example, and you don't want the team to go directly to the spot, you want to have them search for it, you can widen this by adjusting the mission radius. So you could put it within 100 meters of the marker, and they would have to actually look for it a little bit. Require return to base. I have this set to false. What this does is, after the end of each mission, it gives you a mission assignment of returning to base, and it basically forces your team to go back to base, re-equip, rearm, and then get a new mission briefing for the next mission. My guys like to play extended lengths of time in the field, so we will go from mission to mission to mission until they're all done. I have my enemy side assigned to east. I'm playing against Op4. Victory points, you can change this to whatever you want, but I have mine set to 100. For each successful mission, your team will get 10 points. So in effect, you could be assigned up to 10 missions in order to achieve this victory point score. I'm letting my guys get half a point for each enemy that they take out. You can change this. You can make it 2 points for every enemy, and that's going to make your missions, your overall scenario, go by quicker. You can do the math on that, but if they kill 25 guys, they're going to be halfway there. So 0.5 is a good counter. Political will, if you have civilians or not physically placed on the map, the political will determines the how happy the civilian population is with your mission successes. If you're running around shooting civilians, I'll show you how to put this down later, but you can get penalized for killing civilians. This score right here will drop. If it gets to 0, the mission ends and you're done. So you can change this again to whatever you want. If you don't want to bother with having to worry about political will, you can set this at 1,000, and it's never going to affect your mission outcome at all whatsoever. Mission failure punishment, it's just what it sounds like. You get 10 points deducted from your victory points if you fail a mission. So if you're up to 90, you fail a mission, you'll go down to 80. Enemy squad size, all of these going to be pretty much self-explanatory. The left number is the minimum number of men in a squad. The right number is the maximum number of men in a squad. Same for vehicle group size, 1 to 2. Enemy patrols, 1 to 12. This is the actual number of patrols. This is something to keep in mind if you have your enemy squad size set really, really high. Like I could change this to minimum number of 25, the maximum number of 100. If I have a random number of patrols from 1 to 12, that's going to be a hell of a lot of enemies on the map for, even a team of, 20 guys to handle by themselves. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your enemy patrols. I have mine right now set from 1 to 12, and this does this totally randomly. So if you put 1 to 12, you could have 5 patrols. The area of operations will generate 5 patrols. Same for vehicle patrols, same for enemy militia, static weapons, helicopters, IEDs. Once you get down here, attackers, you can mouse over any of these and it will basically give you a quick explanation of what they do. Possible number of attacking groups in defense missions. So if you leave defense missions up here activated, there's a possibility that one of the missions generated will be a defense. Basically, it puts a marker on the map, your team goes there, You seize and hold the area, and you wait for, the way I have it set up, a minimum number of 7 groups with a maximum number of 10 groups to spawn and try to take that area from you. I have my number of enemies to kill on any defense mission set at 20. So it may spawn one group of 5 guys, and my team kills those 5 guys. It's going to spawn another group. If that next group is larger, and so on, they only have to get 20 enemy kills before the enemy gives up, and they win the defense mission. It's considered a success. Kills to win a search and destroy. You can do search and destroy against enemy squads, or you can do search and destroy against enemy vehicles. That's why there's 2 different definitions in here. One of these definitions puts a group of guys down. The other one puts an actual object or a vehicle. And I'll show you how to define that in just a little bit. Maximum skip time, 24 hours. Area of operations uses its own weather script. I have that set to true. Force new campaign, I have set to false. Debug mode, I have set to true, and I'll show you why in just a second. When you actually finalize your mission and you're ready to play it, you want to untick this. If you don't, when the mission starts, everything that would generate on the map has a defined marker, and you and all of your players will be able to see where everything is. So you want to make sure and take that back to false. I have my air mode set to false. This just basically allows your players to function as a helo or jet pilot. Continue mode, I have mine set to true. Basically what this does is, so your victory points are set to 100, and it gives you one mission. Let's say urban patrol. You successfully complete that mission and it gives you 10 points. If return to base was set to true and you did not have this set to false, you would go back to base and the whole scenario ends, mission over, you're done. So it would be a very quick mission. With it set to true, what the area of operations does is, we'll assign you urban patrol, you successfully complete it. We don't have to go to base, we can stay in the field. And after about a minute or so, area of operations generates you a second mission to push you more to this 100 victory points to win. So depending on how many men your team kills in the field and how many missions they complete, they could have, as few as 5 missions. They could have 3 missions, because the enemy kill reward factors into your victory points. So if that makes sense. Dynamic simulation. If you've been building missions for a while, you know what this is. Basically just helps with performance and stuff, spawning units and that kind of thing, getting rid of units once they're dead, that kind of thing. So I left my debug on true, and I'm going to show you why I did that. You can go into spectate right here with the debug on, and you can test your AO size to see if it's big enough for what you're wanting to do in your mission. It may be too small, it may be too big. You may have to go back and readjust it. But with the debug on, it will actually show you it's kind of like a trigger circle, so you can see where your area of operations is. And right now we're on
Be advised,
map
support
view.
units are now on
It's at
standby.
nighttime.
Out.
3D view actually. So we're going to go to map view, and if you zoom out, this circle right here is my area of operations at 2,600 meters. Now what it does is it generates from the center point of wherever you place that module, that AO core module. So if you wanted to include this area out here, you would maybe want to set it to, 3,000 meters, maybe 3,200 meters to include this area of the map out here. So now that we've seen how big our AO is, we'll go back into the mission. We'll turn the debug off. Right now it's set to true, so we can see our circle. We're going to put that back to false and hit OK. And so you have to have this module down. The next thing that you want to do is create a location village. Now, everywhere you put these markers, you just come over here and grab one. You just click it and place it on the map. This is where you're wanting enemy units and civilians and that kind of thing to spawn. If it doesn't have one of these, it's just going to randomly place them inside the zone. So you may have, and it's real unspecific as to how it does it. I've been playing with this for just a little while, and if you do not put village markers down, you may have every single enemy unit and civilian in this one area right here versus all throughout the AO if you use the village location markers. So if you're wanting something to happen in a specific place, make sure you put a location village marker somewhere in there. So this is the cool part here. Define enemy men and vehicles. So I have all of my enemy men that I'm going to use right here. I'm running several mod sets right now, so these came from one of them. These are Eastern European Armed Force. These are from the Warfare Tie module. Highly recommend that if you're not using it. It's got a bunch of different units, camo patterns, and gear and equipment in it. For a variety of different enemies. I'll show you what they look like. So this is Eastern European Armed Force. The Warfare Tie mod creators, they went in and they reskinned a bunch of the vehicles, the biz vehicles, so that they have different camo patterns and stuff on them. Well, okay, let's do single units. There we go. Eastern European Armed Force. So artillery. This is SOCOR, and it's just been reskinned, pattern different. I mixed it up a little bit for the purposes of this demonstration video, and I'm using Russian vehicles with these Eastern European Armed Force guys. So here's basically how you do this. You're going to come in, you're going to choose the enemies that you want to be your OP4 aggressors in the mission. You can put down as many or as few as you want. You can put down 5 guys, and all of your guys on the map will be determined from those 5 guys. So I've just basically put down a smattering of enemy vehicles, a bunch of different ground vehicles, a bunch of different enemy units, grouped accordingly. So I've got some smaller fire team squads. I've got a larger infantry squad here. I've got a little special forces unit squad that I've fixed up. I have 1 sniper. I've got a 2-man patrol team here. So once you get all your enemies down, this includes any vehicles that you want to use and crewed the way you want them, any air units that you want to have spawn. You're going to come up above them like this. You're going to draw a big square around them, and you can right click on any of them and do sync to, and just drag and sync them all to define enemy men and vehicles. Bam, that's simple. So when the mission kicks off and it starts populating this area, it's going to pull units from just the ones that you defined here. It's pretty cool to watch it work. When the mission starts, if you were in Spectator and Zeus, you could come over here, and one by one, all of these units disappear. So it doesn't matter where you put these on the map. All of these units are not going to be here when the mission starts. Within the first couple of minutes of mission start, all these units disappear. It basically grabs these units, the identifiers for them, deletes them, and then repopulates the map entirely with the units that you specify. So going back to the AI core module, it could pull, if I'm wanting 1 to 12 men in my, or 3 to 12 men in every squad, it could pull, you know, this squad right here. It may pull this squad and this squad to make up that 12. It may pull this squad and these 2 guys and the sniper and make up a squad. It's just totally random as to how it does it. So that's it. So all of these units are going to be my enemies that I'm going to use on the map. The next module, I believe, is define new faction. That's, you could use this if you're going to do guerrilla forces. I didn't use it in this mission. but basically works the same way. You just come in here, you set the side to resistance, recheck all of your squad sizes, statics, all this kind of thing. And then you could come in here with independent forces and put these down. And you could play as, you could have militia forces as well as regular military forces on the same mission. Basically is what it lets you do. Okay, so back to modules. Define, search, and destroy targets. So I have a module right here on the map. So you can go in and pull any object that you want your team to basically search and destroy. I have a couple of different SAM launchers here, and then a radar installation. Basically, you're going to put these down on the map just like you did your enemy units. You can draw a square around them, ta-da, like this, and then right-click, sync them to this module. So when that mission happens to generate, the search and destroy mission, the units that it's going to pull from, the objects that you will be assigned to destroy, will be these three objects right here. If you wanted helos, if you wanted, you could do it. You could use anything basically for your search and destroy. One thing I didn't go over, I'll skip this one. Define downed aircraft and pilots. If you leave that mission objective in the AO core module, the possibility of you getting a mission where you have to go and rescue a downed pilot or search for and recover or destroy a downed aircraft, just put this module down. Choose your 2 Blue 4 or 5 Blue 4 helicopters, however many you want. You can be planes as well. Sync those to the module, and then when AO generates the mission, these are the units that it will pull from in order to create those mission types. If you do not have your own unit specified, it will randomly pull a biz unit. So you could get, you know, a Pawnee, you could get a Ghost Hawk or whatever. But for the purposes of my mission, we're doing Navy and Marine Corps stuff in this mission. So I just assigned a couple of Marine Corps helos for this mission. Lastly is the civilians. You put this down on the map, go into your civilian units, place what you want your civilians to look like, sync them to this module. Now this one does have a little drop down menu. Civilian presence, chance the house with positions will spawn a civilian. I have that set at 10. So most of my civilians are going to spawn outside. If you want everybody to be spawned indoors, you can change that to 100. Every civilian that spawned will be spawned inside a building if it's able to. Civilian distance, max distance at which civilians will be spawned. This is going to be from your from these markers where you put your location village. I do believe that's how that works. So wherever there's a village marker within 400 meters of that, that's where civilians are going to spawn. So it starts from the center and goes outwards to 400 meters. If you want it shorter than that, if you wanted them all within these couple of blocks right here, just drop that down to 100 or 50 maybe, and they'll all spawn right there close to that, populate the village. Civilian car count. These will be actual civilians driving vehicles. If you don't want a lot, you might want to drop that down to maybe 4 or 5, up to 6 or 7. Now that is, remember that is per area. I do believe I've experimented with it a little bit, and based on what I've played with, most of the civilians populate around these village locations. So you're talking 10 to 20 possible civilian vehicles will spawn 400 meters away from the center of this marker. So if you don't want that many vehicles, you need to change that number. This is the punishment that I was talking about. If a Blue 4 team or individual happens to kill a civilian, it will dock your political will number by 3 points. That's what I have it set at. If you want it higher, you can change it. Like I said, once the political will reaches 0, the mission will end itself. So keep that in mind. If you don't want team members to be punished at all for killing civilians, just change that to 0. And that's pretty much it. I did want to add some boats in here though, so I can do that. Since part of my AO is in the water, let's look at someplace that's got boats. Boats, here we go. So let's do, this is from Pook's Boat mod. It's got a bunch of different boats made. So I'm going to put these down as empty right here. I don't have to be in the water. You could just as easily put them on land, but I'm a realist like that. So I'm going to put these down as empty, and then I'm going to crew them. That's kind of a little assault boat here, so I didn't even have to do that at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop. Dang it. Drag and drop from some of the units I already have. I'm just going to hit Control C. And then I'm going to drag these over here and crew my boats. Control C again. And crew my boat. And now you'll see that it was a empty object before, but now I've got them crewed in here. And so if I want to add these to my pool of units, I'm going to draw my square, right click, hit sync to, and connect it to my defined enemy men and vehicles mod. So now when this map populates, I'll possibly have some boats spawning. So let's go into play and we'll spectate, and I'll show you what it looks like as things are populating. So you can get an idea of how this thing works, and we'll look at the way everything populates. This is a really quick and easy way to create a mission. Like I said, you can build this around a mission objective that you're making on your own, and just delete all the mission
Be advised,
the
support
mission
units are now on
options that
standby.
is in area of operations. There go all the units. All the units are getting picked up and identified. Everything's clearing up, getting disappeared, and now they're all gone. Okay. Our first mission is recover intel from a HVT's body. You can see on the map that our units are starting to populate. We've got some civilians coming in. Now, because we are in spectate mode, that's how I'm getting ident tags on all of my units and everything. You can hear all the different civilian vehicles going off. You can go into map mode, 2D map mode, and sort of watch as everything populates in the AO. So I've got some OP4 units generating here. Right here, they're starting to populate. And it takes it a minute. The bigger your AO is, it takes a second for all of your enemies to generate. So right here, I've got an enemy vehicle right here that spawned. And you can look over here on the left, and it's showing you everything that's being populated. Let's go back to map. I should be able to see these units, and they're not. Okay, there's some. So here's my enemy helo. It's already on patrol. I had some enemy units out here on an island. So I put a lot of guys out here. Let's come out here and see what this is. So it's got some units down here. Some men it pulled, and it's got them on a patrol over here. So that's how it works. It's pretty simple. Once you've used it a couple of times, you know how to work it, how to operate it. Easy way to generate a mission without a whole lot of work. And like I said, it can be used on any map at all. So, and it will never play the same because you'll always get different missions. It will populate different every time. It's just a really, really cool, fast way to build a mission. If you don't want to spend a lot of time, like I said, placing units and making patrol routes and doing that kind of thing, it's an awesome way to build a mission and probably do one in under 30 minutes, and it's ready to play. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope that it was helpful. And if you got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them as I see them. Till next time.